Mrs. Bailey, we live? Okay.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Garfield Heights City School District Town Hall for updates on the 2020-21 school year. We're so grateful to have you take time out of your busy schedules to join us for some pertinent updates regarding changes and transition in the district. We've allotted an hour for this town hall, and we will have the opportunity to address the questions that have been submitted. I encourage you that if you did not have the opportunity to submit your questions in advance, please feel free to do so utilizing the live YouTube chat. There are a few rules of engagement I would like to mention. We would ask you just to be courteous and respectful in the chat. Also, please submit your name along with your question just so that we can identify who the question is coming from. I would like to take this time now just to introduce myself. My name is Yolanda Hamilton, and I am the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Consultant for the Garfield Heights City School District. And tonight we are joined by our administrative team who's going to share with you again the necessary updates and questions that I'm sure that the community at large has had regarding the new school year. So at this time, I would like to take the opportunity to turn it over to our district superintendent, Mr. Chris Hanke.
Thank you, Ms. Hamilton, and everyone that's watching, welcome. We appreciate you engaging with us tonight. We would like to be able to answer all the questions that come in. However, if we do run out of time, we will get back to you individually. What I'd like to do is just go around and I'm going to introduce each person, and after I introduce them, they will give a brief update as to their area that they're working on as we work to on our remote learning plan, and also you know, who they are. Ms. Wilson.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Gina Wilson, and I am the Family Engagement Coordinator for the district. And I work with families to tap into different resources needed to provide wraparound services, not only for the students that we service in the district, but the families as well. I like to work one-on-one with families as well as students to make sure that we're meeting their needs, both academic and in the home setting. You can contact me at any time, and if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in.
Yeah, and Ms. Wilson's contact information is on our website. She'd be happy to help you.
Absolutely.
Mrs. Morris.
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Brynn Morris, and I'm the newly appointed Bulldog Digital Academy Administrator. So all those questions you've been sending in and phone calls, I am the one on the other side of the answers and the phone calls. This is my 19th year in education, and I'm excited, and I have the pre-K to 12 experience. So we're ready to hit the ground running. We have a lot of answers, hopefully, for the important questions you have this evening, and I look forward to answering those and getting to know all of you.
Very good. Thank you, Mrs. Morris. Mr. Sluka.
Thank you, Mr. Hanke. My name is Al Sluka. I am the Treasurer and Director of Business Services for the Garfield Heights City Schools. My key role right now has been trying to maintain and upgrade our facilities to meet the social distancing and the safety of our teachers, students, and staff and community. We've been working very diligently on configuring our buildings to do just that. And we're well on our way to making sure that we have a safe environment if and when our students get back and when our teachers get back. The other areas that I'm in charge of is transportation. We will be social distancing on transportation. We're currently working on routes and how the buses will be configured. With the stay at home, we have other ways of trying to fulfill those needs, and we have some time to look at the routes and how we're going to do that. We will get more information out once that is finalized. For your CVCC riders, CVCC will be opening up in August. If you are attending in person, you will be provided transportation like in the past. So we will have transportation ready to go and available on the first day of school for you CVCC students. Lastly, in food service, we are working on a plan to ensure that those families in need of food will be able to access food on a regular basis through the schools as if you were in school. What that looks like right now, we are pivoting from the in-school to being online for the first quarter. We're working on a plan as we speak, and we hope to have information to families by the first day of school how you can access the breakfast and lunch through the school program. I know this is mostly for the educational side. I will be online for any questions on the facilities, safety, security, and food service and transportation. Thank you, Mr. Hanke.
Thank you, Mr. Sluka. Ms. Pillets?
Hello, Bulldog families. I'm Brooke Pillets, the Director of Special Education in the Garfield Heights City Schools. And I first want to say thank you to all of you for your patience as we are developing our plan for our students to return to school. So we all know we're going remotely to start the school year. So I just wanted to tell you that approximately 730 students in our district have IEPs, and every IEP and for every student is different. There's not one IEP that's exactly the same as another one. So in order to meet the needs of all of our students, we will be providing every student with parent input, of course, the IEP team. Our wonderful intervention specialists will be reaching out to you to set up an individualized remote learning plan for your child that will it'll indicate what your services will look like, who will be providing the services, when the services will be provided, and you will have input into that so that we're all on the same schedule. You know what day your students getting this particular service, and we will work together as a team to make sure all of our services are met for our students. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Pillets. Mr. Patton?
Good evening, families. My name is Sean Patton. I am the Assistant Superintendent with the Garfield Heights City Schools, and we appreciate everything that you are doing in helping us prepare at the start of our school year. My role in the district is really to help support all the administrators throughout the entire district. And as things come up, I'm the person that helps to navigate and work through the issues. Our biggest continue working with with our teachers as well as our support staff and helping them prepare and get ready for the start of the school year. We know that this is a unique challenge, but we have been working very diligently all throughout the summer in preparation for this. And we appreciate everything that the community has continued to do for us and allowing us to make the right decisions in preparing our students coming back in the fall. So again, we thank you very much for all your patience, your understanding, and know that we are working very hard to make the successful start of the school year for our kids.
And last but certainly not least, Mrs. Bailey, I would like to say also she's been the engine behind all of our communication efforts during our board meetings. We really appreciate all her efforts to put together a platform where we're able to reach the community effectively. So, Ms. Bailey, want to introduce yourself and tell them what your role has been and is moving forward?
Thank you very much, Mr. Hanke. My name is Shari Bailey. I'm the Director of Technology of Garfield Heights City Schools. Obviously, when our schools shut down at the beginning of the pandemic in March, we quickly made sure that we could get Chromebooks home to families because students couldn't be doing work online if they didn't have the resources. We even were able to purchase some hotspots to help families as well. Well, now that we know and we have well in advance that our schools are going to be closed first quarter, we've been preparing all summer to make sure that we purchase more Chromebooks. We will have a Chromebook for every student in the district. And we are going to be rolling out the distribution based on the buildings. So the Digital Academy will be a little bit different, but every building is going to be then having times where students can maybe pick up resources. Parents will get information about insurance for Chromebooks, signing a Chromebook policy, getting a Chromebook to take home that will be assigned to their student for the rest of the school year. So I'm really excited about that, and more information will be coming. And our goal is to have all the Chromebooks distributed before September 9th, which is the first day of school.
Well, and since I have an audience here, real quick, my role, just so people know, as a leader of the district is to make sure that we have effective communication. That's one of my main roles, and we hope that this effort really helps with that. One just brief thing about the rules of engagement, as Ms. Hamilton called them for tonight. This town hall meeting is focused on parents and families. Those are the questions we will be answering that have to do with students, parents, and families. Certainly, we will be addressing employee concerns as things unfold, but we really want to get information out to them tonight. Ms. Hamilton?
Yes, and one thing I would like to mention, most of us on the call are parents. So again, we do understand, the anxiety that has been created by just the unknown factors. So we definitely ask for your grace because we understand and are sitting in the same situations that you are. Also, we have formed an equity task force that is really looking at these issues because we realize outside of the general equity issues that we face as a district, COVID has presented some new things for us to look at. And so our equity task force is taking a look through the lens of equity at those issues so that we can ensure that each student has the proper support in place to be successful during remote learning and also the digital academy. So at this time, I would like to ask Ms. Brynn Morris to give us an overview and update. And I know there's a lot of questions that have come about with the Digital Academy, so I'll turn it over to you.
Excellent, thank you. So I have a frequently asked question form that I had started this week as questions were rolling in. And I would like to just go over a few things to just get it out of the way and hopefully get some information out. One of the biggest questions that we've received is, what is the difference between remote learning and the Digital Academy? It was a lot easier to explain before we had to all go remote for the first 9 weeks. But really, when it comes down to it, the remote learning is for all of our students who are hoping to go back physically to the building at some point. So they'll start off 9 weeks. Hopefully after the 9 weeks, if we're allowed to go back to the building, they would go back to a hybrid model of schooling. The Digital Academy will be online forever. That is what we do. We will be an online academy, online school for the whole time. And if you've signed up for the Bulldog Digital Academy, we are asking for a semester commitment. So for the 9 weeks, the way I've been explaining it is it's kind of like a football game. So if you want to do remote, it's the first quarter. And Digital Academy is at least the first half. And then when that comes, then you would be able to decide, yes, this Digital Academy is really working for me and I want to continue on for the rest of the year. Or, you know what, I think my child might be best to go back to physical school. And if we are back in the physical school, they would be able to do that. And there's many reasons for that. It's to have some continuity and structure for our families, as well as the grading policies and making sure the transcripts are solid. There's a lot of reasons behind that. So that's been the main question I've received. A lot of questions about when am I going to get my schedule, and that is forthcoming. Right now, the deadline to sign up for the Digital Academy is Wednesday, August 12th. Once we have a solid number as to who is officially signed up for the Digital Academy, we then can look at how many teachers we need to service all of those students. And once we have that, we can start to make those decisions. You will be notified as soon as we have things in place. You will hear from us, robocalls, emails, phone calls, but it is going to take a little bit of time to make that happen because we want to do it right. A couple other things where, we want to offer the same electives and honors classes. We're trying to be very creative and getting as much opportunity to our students as possible. I would say those are probably the three main questions that I've received, that I've answered a lot of. So hopefully that's helped. And if it hasn't been clear enough, please ask for further clarification.
And Ms. Morris, I just wanted to clarify, and anyone feel free to chime in, for students and families that might be newly relocated to Garfield Heights that were not currently enrolled in the district for last year. Can someone speak to the audience to provide information for those families about the process of enrollment?
Yes, I could actually speak to that, Ms. Hamilton. You do need to enroll your student in Garfield Heights City Schools to be eligible either for remote learning or the digital academy. The default, once you register, is that you're opting for remote learning. If you decide on the digital academy, there is a separate Google registration form on the website. Registration, please call our board office at 216-475-8100, and they will schedule you in for registration. We can't stress enough to please make those appointments as soon as possible. It is helpful for us as we plan for the year.
Thank you. And before we go to updates from Ms. Pillets, Cassandra Graham, a parent in the district, had asked if we could advise if transportation would be provided to students regarding CVCC. And I believe Mr. Sluka addressed that by stating yes, and that there will be communication coming out regards to transportation to CVCC. So at this time, I'd like to ask Ms. Pillets if she could provide updates on special education and preschool.
So everything I'm talking about right now also includes our preschool. So our preschool students all the way up to grade 12, and then we also have some students beyond grade 12. So the way we divide up our district, every one of the students on an IEP has an intervention case manager, okay? Intervention specialist is the case manager. So what's going to happen is the intervention specialist will be reaching out to parents, every student on an IEP in the district. So they will be reaching out to parents to set up a Zoom meeting, Google Meet meeting, one of our platforms, and they will be sitting down with whatever service personnel also provide services to that student, if it's speech or OT or whatever the service is. So there will be a team meeting, and there they will develop the individualized remote learning plan with the parent, looking at the services on the IEP and determining from there what the services are, who will be providing them, the time frame, and what day of the week. So I just want to make that clear to parents. You are definitely a major part of our team, and we really want to hear from you what worked in the spring, what didn't work, and we want to fix that so that our students with disabilities are getting the best possible services that we can provide. So I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks, the intervention specialist will be able to reach out to families and start scheduling those meetings. Definitely before school starts, you will have this plan in place. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to email me. You can call me, whatever you'd like to do, but I just wanted to make sure that you're all aware you will have an individualized plan. So thank you for your patience. And I know there's a lot of other questions you may have. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Pillets, do we have an estimated timeline that parents can be expected to be contacted for the meetings for the remote learning plans, or is that still to be determined? Still to be determined. Our teachers come back on Mr. Hanke, August 31st.
Well, the new teachers for August, it's September the 1st.
Okay, so hopefully I can get intervention specialists in prior to that, but they will definitely be reaching out to families. If you don't hear from them prior to that September 1st, you will definitely hear from them that week, and we'll get these plans in place. It'll be a written plan, and it'll be signed by all team members as well. Okay, thank you very much. As we're moving along to get questions answered, I want to encourage, if you have a specific question, please submit it through the YouTube chat.
and we will try to address that during our time. So the next question that we have is from Jen Lake. Again, it seems that some parents just want to know the difference between remote learning and the Bulldog Digital Academy, and I believe Ms. Morris addressed that. Also, her question was, which one would be better for advanced placement for high school students?
Well, I think we can probably tag team this question, Mrs. Morris and I. And I would like, and Ms. Hamilton, I'm kind of looking at the chat going here. So students at the high school that are receiving remote learning will receive schedules after the Digital Academy closure, in terms of the closure of the enrollment. Both programs will offer AP courses. The difference being is that the remote learning students may, depending on recommendations from the Board of Health and the Board of Education, have an opportunity to come back to in-person instruction at some point. Those that are in the Digital Academy will receive all of their instruction online, so the AP coursework will look different. Is that, and Mrs. Morris, please tell me if I'm misspeaking.
They are going to be offered the same opportunities. Like you said, it will just look different. It'll be online. They will have the same curriculum, the same assignments. Our teachers are still going to continue to work together, plan together, make sure we're all on the same page so that everyone winds up with the same information. It would just be done online, submitting things instead of in person if we were afforded to go back.
Okay. And when can they expect to see the schedules for high school students?
The schedules for high school students and will be in the next couple of weeks, much like in past years. The high school team is working to schedule the students. The schedules are going to look substantially similar to what they do in a normal year. And when the students get them, obviously they'll be receiving instruction for the first 9 weeks remotely. I would like to address a question that keeps getting repeated, Ms. Hamilton, if you don't mind,
Sure.
about the division of grades. The high school team, as well as our Director of Teaching and Learning and myself, looked at various ways to provide a hybrid model at the high school. And it was very difficult considering the amount of courses that are offered at the high school. What we came up with was that if there is in fact a hybrid model, that the 9th and 10th graders would participate in that, with 11th and 12th attending virtually. A couple of clarifications there. We don't know, quite frankly, if in fact we'd be going back to a hybrid model or a full in-person model after 9 weeks. We don't know that. Our goal is to get every student back to in-person learning as soon as it is safe to do so. Our thought and research has shown that 11th and 12th graders are in fact students that can operate more successfully in a digital environment given their grade level and ages. That's not to say that they don't also deserve in-person instruction. It's just the best we could come up with based on the amount of children we have in the school. We hope to have everybody back fully once it's safe to do so.
Thank you. Okay, we have another question that came in from a parent. I'm not sure who, there's no name associated, but the parent states, other states have started to reopen schools and failed at containing the virus. So for me, attending school in person is not an option. Will Garfield Heights offer online schooling? Yes, that has been addressed. Will the school semester run for the same amount of weeks? The answer is yes, in the Digital Academy and remote learning. And will we have enough laptops? That was also addressed. Will the grading systems change?
Very, very good question. I've seen that as I'm monitoring the chat here as well. So the grading system is going to go back to a regular grading system. When we had the online schooling due to the pandemic closure in the spring. We went to a pass-fail system to make sure that every student had the opportunity to do their very best and pass their courses. We are going back to the A through E system as it is in board policy. So the grading system is going to remain the same as if you were in school, whether you're in remote learning or in the digital academy. Second question that seems to be on people's minds has to do with attendance. Attendance will be taken every day. Attendance is mandated by the state of Ohio, and we are going back to a normal type of attendance policy that is also in Board of Education policy. And we are going to work with our social workers and guidance counselors, intervention managers to follow up with students that may be having trouble attending, whether it be for access issues or issues with connectivity or some other barriers they may have. The Bulldog Digital Academy may look a little different in terms of the ability to access learning. If Mrs. Morris wants to speak to that a little bit.
We're currently, this is another common question I've actually gotten is my child going to have to be on at a specific time? Or what's the schedule going to be? There are going to be set schedules for the students for the Digital Academy. It will look different. I personally have a kindergartner and an 8th grader, and their schedules would look very different. And the amount of time they would be sitting in front of a computer will look different. But they will have a set schedule. They will have to be on at a certain time in the morning for attendance, as Mr. Hanke said, and they will have to be present for the actual instruction of the lesson. But that's all going to be created once we have the teachers on board. Because I believe that the teachers will have that skill set so we can sit down and really build what's going to be best for our students and families, as well as at each grade level, because we want to make sure it's developmentally appropriate and will work for our families. Now, when it comes to work submission, that might be slightly different. You know, my thought process is that, you know, you'll do a lesson, I'm teaching, okay, go practice these problems for half an hour and we'll come back at this time. And then they could come back and review. But for actual submission of work, they would be able to do that later on. So if you are working, which we know a lot of our parents are essential workers and they don't get home until the evening, you can submit things at 10 o'clock at night. And if you ever ran into a problem, I would want you to contact the teachers and myself so that we can help remove those barriers and get whatever you need. So that might look slightly different.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to take a couple of questions that have come through the YouTube chat. A question submitted by Catherine Gentry and Mauricia Bay are pretty similar. Will the students be able to see the teachers live and ask questions? And Catherine was concerned about asynchronous learning, that it seems to be the only way it would work, and being concerned of having like multiple children in multiple grade levels. So can you speak to that?
Absolutely, thank you. So that has been a big question. Because, you know, when this happened in the spring with the pandemic, we were thrown into it and we made a plan in a matter of a week, really, actually a matter of days. And I think we did a really good job for what we had. But over the summer, the district has provided our teachers with a lot of training, a lot of ways to make learning interactive. And you will have a teacher teaching most of the day. The teachers are going to work their full day schedule. You'll get it's going to feel just like Mr. Hanke said, like a normal school schedule, where it will be like this. It'll be a Zoom where I'm the teacher teaching my class, working, go practice, come back, and it's going to be throughout the day. It's not going to be, I'm here for 20 minutes, see you tomorrow. It's going to definitely be a very personalized face-to-face interaction.
Okay. Also, there's a question that came in from a parent, Sinitra Skiller. And one of the questions is, how will school fees be structured for this year?
There we go. School fees. Right now, school fees are, I'm going to have to go back and look at it, but I believe they're being looked at by the board right now. So I apologize, but let me get back to you on that. So school fees are under discussion.
Okay. And she also inquires that her daughter did not get to turn in her schedule for this year. How and when can changes be made to schedules if necessary.
Bear with us again. The Digital Academy, I know that sounds like it's a hinge point, and it is. We're trying to get the Digital Academy settled in terms of the amount of students that are going to be in it. Again, the deadline for that's August 12th. Once we do that, we can move forward with scheduling at all of our buildings. Obviously, the high school is I'm making an assumption here, but I think we're probably talking about a high school student. Yeah, so their schedules will be out in the next couple of weeks once we get everything settled with the Digital Academy.
Can I jump on one thing about the high school schedules? Generally, what we've done in the past is the high school students receive their schedule the week before we start school. So that is the target date that we are working towards, and as we work through and staffing the Digital Academy and kind of put all the other kind of pieces in the parts, that is the goal for the high school, to get those schedules out to our high school students.
Okay, another question came in via email from Ms. Zanetta Killings. How are the students going to select their classes for this coming year?
Well, firstly, the classes are selected. You have the core classes that are selected for the students, and then electives are selected. The high school is going to be in touch once we get things settled in terms of guidance counselors. We're trying to work out how that's going to work in terms of it being through a platform like this or through a one-on-one in-person type of environment, being mindful of safety concerns.
Thank you. Ms. Jocelyn Weems has two questions. Can families use their own devices, or do they have to use Chromebooks? And will parents be able to meet with teachers before school starts?
I will take that. Mrs. Bailey can chime in. We would prefer that I believe that you can use your own device. We would prefer you use our device for a couple of reasons. For security, for safety, they are filtered, and also for us to be able to push out updates onto them. Did I misspeak on any of that, Mrs. Bailey?
No, that's absolutely right. The other thing that we do with the Chromebooks is we push out all the district purchased curricular software. That way, you know that your student will be able to log into all the accounts that the district provides depending on the grade level. Filtering is another huge piece, as well as teachers will be able to interact with the students when they're logged in and doing work for the teacher.
Okay, thank you. The next question came from the email parent Kathy Berg. I think I signed up for the Digital Academy, but did not receive any kind of confirmation. How do I know my request properly went through? And what if there's an issue with the teacher that is assigned to my student in the Digital Academy? Will I be given the opportunity to switch teachers?
Ms. Morris, do you want to?
Sorry, I couldn't unmute.
Oh, okay.
So the first question being about confirmation of registration, we're going to send out an email early next week. We can try and send it Monday morning, and I will take all of the email addresses that I have as registering, and we will send out an email as confirmation. If you don't get that, you can email me and I will double check it for you. And we will do that again, I would assume, Ms. Bailey, maybe Wednesday once it closes, maybe do it Thursday morning, and then that way you would have that confirmation. For teacher concerns, right now, the numbers that we're looking at now, whether that goes up or down, I'm imagining we will have several, a couple of teachers at each grade level, but I would encourage that we conference, talk with the teacher, contact me, and see if we can iron some things out. But obviously we want to do what's best for our students and our families.
Okay. We had a question come in email and via the chat from Miss Melissa Sayard. She's concerned as to why the juniors are not going back. The seniors and juniors are not going back. Concerns about having anxiety and them impact on the mental health of the students not being able to start off to go to school during their senior year. So I would like to speak to that and say, Ms. Sayers, the decisions that have been made, we are prioritizing the health of students and following the Cuyahoga County Board of Health recommendations. Again, after the 9 weeks, to Mr. Hanke's point, we will have an assessment to see if it is safe for students to return. We are hopeful that things will be safe and improved, but if not, we just have to wait a little longer because again, the health and safety of our students in the district are our top priority with this decision. And we know it's hard. Each of us have the desire for our students to be back in school, but we just, given the pandemic, there's so many risks associated with that. And we're doing our diligence to do everything we can to make sure that the proper protocols and procedures are in place for students to be able to return, to Mr. Hanke's point, when it is a safe environment. Thank you for your concern. We hear you and appreciate you sharing. I would like to move on to another question in the chat, which, let me see there, you're coming in. Thank you for the engagement and interaction. I believe from Miss Jody Shy. Can you address plans for junior and seniors beyond the first 9 weeks? I think I just clarified that we'll be assessing that once we reach the 9 weeks. It's really no way to for us to predict that, right? We are going on the recommendations, following the recommendations from the experts from the Cuyahoga County Board of Health. I believe that as long as we remain in the red categories, we will continue to follow those guidelines. And hopefully, if cases don't escalate, we will be able to reopen. But given the guidelines as outlined by the Cuyahoga County Board of Health, there is the possibility that cases may increase. And if we end up in a purple category, we would not be moving forward with reopening, again, with the concern of the health and safety. So I'll let Mr. Hanke speak more to that as well.
Yeah, actually, and I can give the everyone watching this some insight into that. Every week, area superintendents, meaning all of them in Cuyahoga County plus some adjacent counties, have the opportunity to meet on Fridays, and the Board of Health's leadership team, including the director and their chief medical officer, have been gracious enough, and you can imagine they're a little busy, to join us. These past 2 weeks obviously have been revelatory. Last week, they came in and said that they recommend that we start virtually. This week, they did offer us some clarity surrounding that. In terms of that these are recommendations. Most of the districts in the county are in fact starting the year virtually. One thing that is the Board of Education passed that all in-person extracurriculars and sports be also not participated in during this time. There is some discussion going on about that in terms of contact versus non-contact sports, et cetera. So I guess one of my messages is, because I've received numerous inquiries about sports, is that, again, I'd like nothing more than to open up sports fully. Absent that, we are taking a look as a Lake Erie League on what may be able to happen for our student athletes. As far as the 11th and 12th graders in the split, we did have to come up with a solution to make sure that everyone could get the classes that they needed and they wanted, and that was the solution we came up with. That's if we have a hybrid model. I could see this easily going to a space where it's either we are fully remote or we are in fully. That could happen. It could happen where we have a spike in cases and we stay fully remote. It's unfortunate that we're not going to have clarity until the data comes out each week in terms of COVID infections. And we have to rely on the health experts to guide us, because all of our expertise is in education, social work, et cetera. And we have to have them help us.
Mr. Hanke, can I jump in real quick on that? From a facility standpoint, we're still mandated by the state for social distancing of our students, which very limits class sizes to almost a maximum of 15 to a class. Right now, if everyone was in school, we would not be able to reach that mandate per the governor, who says we still must maintain social distancing, which is roughly 6 feet of distance. So we really don't have the class size, number of classrooms in all our buildings to bring everybody back, especially at the high school too, if we have all 4 grades in. So if we got to limit those classes to a maximum of 15 per classroom, if everybody was back, we wouldn't be able to do it from a facility standpoint.
Okay, thank you. I have a question that came in. I can't identify the parent, but it's questions in regards to logistics about the reopening process in terms of bathroom breaks, mask requirements, social distancing, sanitizing. I'm sure that that is a question that most parents have about the reopening. So I would like to say that that will most likely be addressed in the district-wide communication so that all families can have an understanding of what that would look like when the school reopens, hopefully after the first 9 weeks. And I would like to also go on through the chat. We're moving through the questions. Aaron Holston, do kindergartners get Chromebooks? Also, it seems like it might be a little difficult for them to navigate.
Yeah, the short answer is yes. And we understand that is something that as you move into the lower grades might be a little more difficult. As Mrs. Bailey said, we are going to try to offer, we're going to offer some training and resources. Additionally, under discussion is, we call them in education manipulatives. They're the tactile things we use to help students learn, and how we'd like to try to get we're going to get these out to students, our younger students that need to have tangible things for them to help their learning.
Okay, great. I wanted to pause with the questions. I wanted to pose something to Gina. Gina, again, for our families that might just be joining or have questions in terms of accessing resources and services in the district, can you speak a little bit about your role and what they should do in terms of working with you to navigate communication between parties in the districts and access to community resources during this time?
Yes, so I'm the family engagement coordinator for the district. So I work with families in all buildings to assist them in obtaining resources that they need. I work with families hand in hand to work with the individual in the community to help us assist with those resources. I also work with families in regards to communication between teachers and other staff in the building. You can reach me by email. It's gwilson@ghbulldogs.org or my cell phone number at 216-777-2279. I've been communicating with families all summer, trying to answer questions to the best of my ability. And if I don't have the answer for you, I will speak to the party who I think may help, and we will be able to work together to make sure we answer all questions that we have. Again, you can reach out to me if you have any questions, concerns. If your question doesn't get answered, I would be sure to assist with that as well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. The next question, Ms. April Krause, was just joining, looking for information about preschool. And for those who attended last year, how and if services such as speech will continue. How will attendance work for Ms. Anastasia Radford? I think we covered that. How will students with disabilities be set up? So can we speak to that in terms of how the services will be set up, for example, speech therapy, and I believe Ms. Pillets touched a bit on the remote learning plan, but I'll let you speak to that.
Okay, so as I spoke a little bit earlier, in case you're just tuning in, every student on an IEP from preschool on up will have the opportunity to sit down with the IEP team and develop an individualized remote learning plan. Intervention specialists, their case managers, will be reaching out to parents and setting up that meeting before school starts. As far as related services such as speech therapy, that will be it'll be discussed in those meetings that you have in the individualized remote learning plan. And there you will set up how will that service be provided, who will be providing it, what day, how much time. And so parents will be able to interact with, let's say speech therapists, for example, would be part of that meeting, and the parents will have the opportunity to ask those questions at that time.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Pillets. Moving on, a question from parent Mr. Deshaun Milton, concerns about the pass-fail system from the spring, and that his student is a senior this year and may have many opportunities for academic scholarships, which are contingent upon cumulative GPAs. Will my student be able to receive letter grades this school year? I believe we answered that and said, yes, students, we will go back to the normal grading system. Ms. Diana Reeves stated, I may have missed this, but if I signed up for Digital Academy and it doesn't work and remote learning discontinues, can we switch back to a regular learning environment?
Okay, can you, so the question is will they be able to switch back to a regular learning environment if the remote learning discontinues?
I believe so, yes.
Yes, that's exactly what will happen. So I want to, again, re-clarify, because I know this can get a little confusing. If you are a registered student in the Garfield Heights City Schools, by default, you will be placed into the remote learning environment for the first 9 weeks. And then if and when we do transition back to school, you will transition back to school in person. If you opt for the Digital Academy, you have to be enrolled in the school district, and then you have to register through our Google form on the website. That is a commitment of at least a semester of digital learning. But our plan is to offer this program all year. And in fact, quite frankly, this particular type of program may be something that hopefully as we solve the COVID issue as a society, it may be something that is offered in addition to regular learning going forward.
Okay. Thank you. Jen Lake, just to clarify, the same curriculum, same interaction with teachers, whether remote learning or in the Digital Academy, will be implemented. Is that correct?
Yes. The short answer is yes.
Thank you. Ms. Katrina Patterson, can someone speak to whether or not students in band will be able to continue with band under the Digital Academy, given there is only one band instructor?
There is more than one band instructor, actually. All of our band instructors, we have 5 of them, all have K through 12, kindergarten through 12 licenses. We're going to have to be creative in terms of how that's scheduled for everyone. So that's a long answer for yes, band will continue. One of the issues we are having, though, is how that's going to look. Even as students come back, health authorities continue to be very concerned about indoor singing and indoor playing of instruments. They believe that that's one of the things they call super spreader events. That's what the County Board of Health folks were talking to us about today. So we are trying to get as creative as possible to make sure that those course offerings can be as robust as possible.
Thank you. And just another parent must have missed this, but we did determine the students will have access to guidance counselors. That is correct during their remote learning or digital learning experiences. I'd like to go on to Ms. Natasha Nichols. I wanted to ask about support for the students on their social emotional health. Are providers still accessible to families? Are there other programs planned?
I can answer that one. So the answer is yes, we will be working with our outside agencies to help support our students. The other big component is that we will continue through our PBIS work that the district has worked very hard. It will be part of the daily learning for our students, K-12, as well as the preschool. So we will continue to support the social emotional needs of our students. We know that there is a big focus, since a lot of them have not been in school for almost 6 months, or having that connections. And we know that especially the first few weeks of school, building those relationships with their students as well as their fellow classmates is extremely important. And we will be focused heavily on that as we start the beginning of the year.
Thank you. A parent by the name of Miss Lynn Franks, will there be activities or traditions for seniors if they are attending fully virtually for the school year?
We are going to do our level best to be very creative in that respect. And in fact, you know, considering what we were able to do toward the end of the school year and with graduation, we will come up with a plan to do that. My hope, and again, I'm not the health expert, is that you know, we're able to the community is able to come together and you know, lower the amount of infection rates so we can get back and have all those great senior activities in the second semester. That's my hope.
Thank you. Mr. Patton may have addressed this, but we have a comment from Ms. Lynn Franks again, who is a clinical supervisor for Ohio Guidestone. Is there a plan for the agencies in providing mental health services in the district to continue to do so in person?
In person, as in like, unless students are not in the district, we will work with Dr. Dupree, and he will be working with the agencies on helping to support those agencies and their work with our students.
Okay, so Lynn
it's
Franks,
ongoing.
So recommendations to contact Dr. Dupree, whose information is also listed on our website, just to
Yes.
get further explanation regarding that.
And Dr. I don't mean to cut you off, Ms. Hamilton, but I know Dr. Dupree actually had a meeting today with one of the agencies. So he will be working with the other agencies that we work with that help support our students and helping them in developing plans to help support our students virtually for these first 9 weeks and developing systems from there. And we also, yeah, we're working through that, but it will be with his office.
Okay, great. Next question, Ms. Erin Halston. Will kindergartners be expected to sit in front of the screen for the entire school day? What does that look like with screen time and concerns?
I'll take part of that as the father of a 4 going on to 5-year-old. I think everybody's super concerned about screen time. The unfortunate part, well, it's fortunate but unfortunate. You know, as a lot of us that were growing up, we didn't have these types of resources, which is enabling us to offer a pretty robust program, even virtually. We would like our young children to not be in front of screens as much as they may have to be. The first part of that, though, is our expectation is that teachers aren't interacting like this the entire time. It's a matter of, you know, providing activities and providing those breakout types of experiences for children. And again, the piece that I was talking about with getting some tactile materials to those children is going to be helpful.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Holly Lloyd, is there a certain time seniors need to log in on their computer for the digital academy or remote learning?
They will be required as any other student to do that. Yeah. And we do understand, though, there are some seniors that have a limited schedule based on the fact that they have completed much of their coursework. And Mrs. Morris is nodding because she was at the high school for some years. So they will have to log in whenever their course is available, because there are some seniors with a lot of flexibility because of their coursework.
Got it. Okay, Ms. Chandra Brooks, how many children will be in the Zoom rooms at one time?
So say a teacher is going to have a regular class of students, quote unquote. Okay, so if I'm Mr. Hanke and I'm teaching 9th grade American history, which is what I taught, I would have a classroom of say 25 to 30 students. So if I was doing a direct instruction lesson, there might be that amount of students on the Zoom. To flip that, if we were doing some sort of group work, okay, the students would be in what are called through Zoom breakout rooms. And then I might be popping into each breakout room to help the children, okay? You're also going to see that a little differently on the elementary level in terms of, you know, there might be a little more direct instruction at the high school level. That is a very long answer for a full, there could be a full classroom. There could be a small amount of students, depending on the activity. And we rely on our teachers' expertise to design lessons. And we did offer them pretty robust training in terms of being able to do that online for the coming year.
And will there be an orientation for the families to have a better understanding of how to navigate that and access those student lessons?
Yes, not only that, and unfortunately, the way the current orders are from the Ohio Department of Health, and the Cuyahoga County Department of Health discussed this today, that schools should not have gatherings of more than 10 people. However, with social distancing, if there's something that can be done for a few more than 10, they understand that. Probably with the orientation, we're looking at a virtual type of environment, especially at the high school level, because you're looking at hundreds of students, and we don't want them, we want to keep them safe. So I do want to address Ms. Hamilton, kind of piggybacking on that. There was a question about whether or not students will be able to meet their teachers. Right now, that we're looking at that being virtual. If we are able to arrange something in person, we will. But one of our concerns is taking up, quite honestly, valuable instructional time. So that's that.
Okay. Ms. Gia Hinton, will students who receive waivers for lunch be provided to-go lunches or accommodated?
I don't know if Mr. Sluka may be popping on here in a second to answer that question.
Pretty much, yes. We are going to go Title I for the high school, which makes that now a SEP building, community eligible participation. So all students in the district will be eligible for a free breakfast and free lunch. And we are currently working on a distribution plan through this, through our first quarter to get food to every family that would be in need. So yes, we will be asking to do waivers because they have other ramifications for free and reduced waivers. We will be asking families to fill those out as a part of our fee structure. But as far as the food service goes, everyone is eligible now in the district. Every student's eligible, including high school, for a free breakfast, free lunch.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Renee Bolton, will separate guidance counselors for high school students will there be separate guidance counselors for high school students in the digital academy, or will they have their same guidance counselors?
You want to, Mrs. Morris, I can chime in on that. I mean, I believe we're working on a plan to utilize the same personnel. We will not have separate or different personnel. So, for example, if you're a high school student in the digital academy, you will be assigned one of the guidance counselors that is currently at the high school.
Okay. One other parent, Ms. Kathy Brynn, will high school students get all the credits that they need to graduate?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Lucy Espinosa, what are the ODE attendance guidelines for remote learning? Is there a website or somewhere where we can direct her for that information?
Yeah, I can just very briefly, though, say that, first of all, again, we are going to be monitoring attendance very, very closely, okay? The same as if we were in school. The remote learning attendance, the only changes is that they are looking at hour increments. And so we are designing, or we're kind of integrating with our computer system how to account for that. The long and short of it is that students are expected to be in school every day, and if they have an excused absence, they're expected to get in contact with the school office. The school offices, including the principals and secretaries, will be in person. We are obviously curtailing. We do not want visitors at the buildings because of social distancing requirements unless they have an appointment, but you will be able to call in for an excused absence.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Janice Kirkwood, in the event that the schools reopen after the first semester, has there been any consideration for the middle school and the lack of air conditioning in the building and safe air flowing through this older building?
Let Mr. Sluka take that.
I can answer that. Right now, the building is not conducive to putting air conditioning in. However, we have a plan in place and we're currently working with a contractor to increase the airflow throughout the building. And That will be in place by the start of the second quarter when students come back.
Okay. Ms. T. Diamond, do the students have to accept the Chromebooks? I believe the answer is yes. We have recommended that for them to access. And we would like to just say, if you have not returned your Chromebook from the previous quarter semester, please do so, because we do need those. It would be very helpful because they have to be programmed and ready to be redistributed. Ms. Renee Bolton, are we able to meet our students' teachers prior to the school year starting? I believe, Ms. Morris, did you speak to that and say the answer to that is yes?
Mr. Hanke had spoke about it,
Okay.
but yes, we are hoping to do it virtually. As he spoke, you know, right now we can only have so many in a room, but we're hoping to do that. We're trying to work out a solid plan for that.
Okay, and I know that we're approaching the 7 o'clock hour. If we have a few more minutes to get through a few questions, if the parents are still engaging with us, I'll continue to read off a few questions and we'll end shortly. I believe that also Ms. Diamond was saying, do the students that signed up for the virtual academy have to return to school? We covered that and said that the virtual academy, if you sign up for digital, that's for a semester long commitment. And for remote learning, if it is safe to reopen the schools after the 9 weeks, they would be expected to report for in-person learning. Mr. James Portick responded, thank you. Ms. Keisha Bussey, is the day shortened or is the school day still 8:15 to 2:45 for elementary?
That's a great question. So we are trying to match up the times almost the same as last year, okay? Whether it be kindergarten through 12th grade. We believe that we're going to be able to do it without a problem. Because when we transition back to in-person learning, we want the times to be the same. We are only looking at minutes maybe on either side in terms of the change.
Okay. Another question, will the Digital Academy students have the same intervention specialist that they had in middle school? So I'm assuming—
I'll answer that question, yes.
Go ahead.
So right now the buildings are all working on putting together their students with disabilities into their caseloads with the teachers. So I can't answer that question yes or no, because some students may have the same intervention specialist, but right now we're working on caseloads.
Okay, Miss Erin Halston, will there be parent training for some of these programs the children will be using? Yes, and that was communicated, that an email communication will be sent out to the district. We highly recommend contacting the district's office to make sure that your information is updated as well, including your email, phone, so that we know that we can guarantee that the information is distributed. Or if you've moved within the district and changed residence, please make sure that your address and personal information are updated as well. Ms. Catherine Gentry, will children in the same family and same grade be in the same cohort if schools reopen?
As of right now, our remote learning plan has a hybrid model where we've divided it up by grade level. So for example, it'd be every other grade, say it's K to 4 would go together. We are doing, looking at an analysis of who may be affected negatively. But right now we are sticking with that. We had a lot of logistical issues surrounding trying to make the other way happen. However, as I said earlier, we're going to have to look and see where we are in 9 weeks in terms of if we come back fully or if we remain online. The health department, just as an aside, has not spoken about these hybrid models at all, even though we've all put them together in terms of, whether or not, what their recommendations are for them. As Mr. Sluka said, though, under the Department of Health orders, we have to maintain social distancing.
Okay, I'm going to go through these others really rapidly. Ms. T. Diamond, again, how will students get help with IEPs? Ms. Pillets spoke to that and said that they will be in touch with parents and the district for the individual remote learning IEP plans. Ms. Sinitra Skillern, will students have to use an issued Chromebook? Yes, it is. We will require for students to use the district issued Chromebook because it's controlled and we're able to put the programming and if you do a replay after this live town hall, you will see that that question was addressed in the earlier part of the hour. Mr. Brandon Adams, what is the level of internet speed recommended?
I also that to Mrs. Bailey. I think that if you have go ahead, Mrs. Bailey.
Just think if you have internet at home, the Chromebooks don't really demand high internet. Videos, of course, demand more, but that typical access that we have within the city as well as the hotspots seem to be working just fine.
Okay, great. Miss Diana Reeves, children that were assigned to be in the Learning Center for high school this year, how will that be handled?
That's a great question. And Mr. Bradford and his team, Mr. Bradford's the Learning Center principal and his team will be in touch regarding his program. But everyone is going to be online the first 9 weeks. The Learning Center does use a bit of a different program and they have for a number of years in terms of how they access online education. So they are working through those issues.
Okay, Darian Roscoe, who I believe is a student, can I drop band if we are going to do this online? And then if I decide to come back, can I add it back to my schedule?
I would advise Mr. Roscoe not to drop band. We're trying to offer the best experience possible for everyone. So
And we need a saxophone in the band.
Yeah. Yes.
When they come back.
Yes, we do. So thank you.
Thank you. Miss Tanya Love, will the remote learning be the same hours as in-school learning?
Yes, the short answer.
Okay, thank you. Miss Jen Lake, on the high school level, can teachers please provide approved learning resources, links for students to assist them with homework? Will students be able to rewatch the teaching sessions?
I believe that teachers will provide approved learning resources. They'll provide resources for students that throughout their lessons. The ability to rewatch teaching sessions, I think Mrs. Bailey can probably address that. But I mean, if it's a Zoom meeting, there is an ability to record.
That is true. And we did also, one of the things we also did is we purchased the full license of something called Screencastify. Some of the teachers were doing this last year to record themselves teaching a lesson. And that's another resource that's not going to take place of the online teaching, like, live sessions, but it will be another resource that teachers can use so they can post the teaching so students can go back and look at it.
Okay, thank you. We have just a few more questions and we'll be ending. A question that was submitted earlier, will the students have access to a virtual tutor if they need further assistance in a class?
Yes, so the answer to that is both in the remote learning, they will have their tutors as well. And then the district just posted, Mr. Patton just posted for a digital academy to have tutors as well. So that's going to be a wonderful resource for both ends.
Thank you. Ms. Mary Peterson, will Class Dojo be used?
I don't mean to stumble. I think that our aim is to use Google Classroom and Zoom mainly.
Okay.
Classroom Dojo really lends itself if you're an in-person learning. So, okay. I mean, now stay tuned. We'll go back to that once we, we're in in-person learning again.
Okay, Ms. Ashley Brown, our teachers require a certain amount of time of interaction with the children.
Yeah, so teachers we actually have a contract with teachers in terms of that. They are required to work a 7-hour and 40-minute day with a 40-minute lunch and 40-minute plan. So our expectation for the teachers is they will be interacting during their work time.
Okay, 2 questions are the same from Ms. Ashley Brown and Ms. Chandra Brooks. Will the teachers be required? Will they be doing instruction from home, or are they to report to the school to do the instruction?
That's a great question, and I'm still working that out.
Okay.
Stay tuned on that.
Okay, Mr. Sean Ray, will school supplies still be the same?
Well, obviously, in a virtual realm, they will not. As we hopefully transition back to in-person learning, they will take on. Then we'll have the supplies. Now, here's the thing about supplies, especially if we go back to a hybrid model where you have social distancing and various things. Supplies will look different because you can't share supplies right now. If we are in the same type of orders under the Department of Health.
Okay, thank you. And the last question in the chat, Barbara Drobny, state testing. I'm assuming that she's asking, will there be state testing?
Short answer is right now, yes. The long answer is we don't know how that's going to look.
Okay, so I want to thank everyone for their participation. I believe, Ms. Morris, you wanted to share maybe closing words and sharing your contact information for parents that may need further clarity following the town hall.
Sure. Another question that came up today that made me think as we were speaking is, you are still a Garfield Heights City School student if you're in the digital academy. So if you would want to play sports or do whatever you want to do as part of the digital academy, when we're able to do that again, you are still a student. So yes, you can still try out for that. So you will be getting hopefully an email confirmation from myself or Mrs. Bailey Monday if you've registered as a confirmation. And then once the deadline ends, we'll try and send out another one. Again, the deadline to sign up for the Bulldog Digital Academy is Wednesday, August 12th. So please make sure you're getting those in. And if you have any further questions or concerns, I know that there's a spot on the website to submit questions, and those come straight to me. And I'm getting back to them very quickly within a day, if not within minutes. If you could always call me as well. If you want to get a hold of me by phone, it's 216-475-8100, and my extension is 51024. And my email is B as in bad Morris at ghbulldogs.org. I made this so that you make sure you get everything.
B. Morris. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Morris.
Thank
also, we went through all of the questions that came up in the chat in the email. If you still need further clarity, again, you can feel free to email those questions to me, and I will be glad to direct them to the appropriate party. And also, we will work to perhaps put together a FAQ so that we can share that with everyone to further assess, address the questions and concerns. So again, we are here, we are accessible, we are available. We understand that there's a lot of transition and moving pieces, but feel free to reach out because we want to make sure that parents and families are best supported and that you have your answers to your questions clarified. The district is making their best effort to provide communication as it is coming down. And as we all know, through this process, things have changed quite frequently. So again, Mr. Hanke, do you have any closing words for our audience?
I'd just like to echo, Ms. Hamilton, what you said. And I've said this during board meetings, please don't hesitate to call me or call someone that may be in the area you're looking for. You just call the board office number 216-475-8100. We generally have a secretary that answers the phone. If you happen to get the voicemail because that person is unavailable at the time, please just say who you're trying to get a hold of, and we will get back to you. We appreciate your patience and understanding. This is unprecedented. I think I said it during the board meeting. I've been involved in public education. This is my 20th year, and I've never seen anything quite like this. So we are trying to design a program that meets all the needs of all of our students. And I thank all of you for watching tonight. Any other questions, again, please contact us.
Okay, any other closing thoughts from anyone? Okay, well, thank you again for your time and staying with us. I know we went over, and we stay safe and stay healthy. We also invite you to tune in to our board meetings. I believe our next board meeting is August 24th at 6 p.m. You can live stream that on by subscribing to our YouTube channel. Also, if you have access to social media, please check out the pertinent updates that are being made on social media regarding the information as it's transitioned in the district. And also feel free to email or to give us a call. Thank you again for your time and enjoy the rest of your weekend.